Good morning. Today in integral calculus we will study beta function and gamma functions. First of all, what is beta function? The definite integral 0 to 1 x raised to power m minus 1 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx is called a beta function. Here m and n are positive real numbers and we write beta mn equal to 0 to 1 x raised to power m minus 1 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx, and this is also called Euler integral of first kind, and this is convergent if and only if m and n are greater than 0. And the improper integral 0 to infinity e raised to power minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx, where n is greater than 0, is called a gamma function, and this is also called Euler integral equation of second kind, and in this case we write it as gamma mn equal to 0 to infinity e raised to power minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx, where n is greater than 0, and this integral is convergent when n is greater than 0. This function is important as it is an extension of factorial function, which we write as fn equal to factorial n for all n belonging to n, and here is the set of integers. Thus gamma n plus 1 is equal to factorial n. This result we will prove in next lecture. Now the beta function is symmetrical in m and n. It means it remains unchanged if we replace m by n or n by n. That is beta mn is equal to beta nm. We know that by definition of beta function that it is equal to 0 to 1 x raised to power m minus 1 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx, where m and n are positive real numbers. Also we know by the property of definite integrals that 0 to a fx dx is equal to 0 to a f of a minus x dx, means we may replace x by a minus x, where a is the upper limit. Here the upper limit is 1, so we may replace x by 1 minus x. If we replace these x by 1 minus x, we get 1 minus x raised to power m minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx. So in the second term, if we open the brackets, this is 1 minus 1 plus x. 1 and minus 1 will cancel and we will be left with x only. So it is 1 minus x raised to power m minus 1 and here x raised to power n minus 1 dx. And if we interchange the terms, then x raised to power n minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx, integral is from 0 to 1. By the definition of beta function, this is nothing but beta nm, because beta mn equal to 0 to 1 x raised to power m minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1. Here in place of m we have n here, in place of n we have m here, so we may write beta nm. Thus we have shown that beta mn is equal to beta nm. Thus beta function is symmetrical in m and n. Now how to find beta function? We know that beta function is equal to 0 to 1 x raised to power m minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1. Now we have three cases. Either n is a positive integer, or m is a positive integer, or both m and n are positive integer. In first case, suppose n is a positive integer. So integrating by parts, this integral we know how to integrate by parts. So for this we will take 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 as a first function and x raised to power m minus 1 to be second function. So first we will write it as 0 to 1 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 x raised to power m minus 1 dx. And if we integrate by parts, we know that first we write first function as it is, so which is nothing but 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1, then integration of second. Integration of second means second is x raised to power n minus 1, So integration of x raised to power m minus 1 is x raised to power m minus 1 plus 1 upon m minus 1 plus 1. So we have x raised to power m upon m. So limits are from 0 to 1. Minus derivative of first. Derivative of first term is n minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 2, and by chain rule, derivative of 1 minus x is minus 1. So derivative of 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 is n minus 1, 1 minus x n minus 2 minus 1. Integration of second. Integration of x raised to power m minus 1 is x raised to power m upon m dx. And this is equal to, if we substitute upper limit here, it is 1 minus 1, so this term will become 0. And if we substitute lower term 1 minus 0, then 0 raised to power m, then in this case this term will be 0. So if we substitute upper limit or lower limit, this term is 0. So I have written 0 here. So here n minus 1 is constant and this m is constant, and this minus sign and this minus sign will become plus. So plus n minus 1 upon m, 0 to 1, and inside we have 1 minus x raised to power n minus 2 and x raised to power m dx. So the first integration of beta mn is n minus 1 upon m, 0 to 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 2, x raised to power m dx. If we again integrate it by parts, then we have n minus 1 upon m, this we already have, and inside first function as it is, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 2, integration of second, x raised to power m plus 1 upon m plus 1, limits are from 0 to 1, minus derivative of first. Derivative of first means n minus 2, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 3, minus 1, integration of second. Second term is x raised to power m, so x raised to power m plus 1 upon dx. So if we substitute upper limit here, this will be 0. If we substitute lower limit here, this will be 0. So in both the cases, this term is 0. So we have n minus 1 upon m, and from here n minus 2 and this m plus 1. Here we have minus sign, here it is also minus. So this is plus, 0 to 1, inside we have x raised to power m plus 1, and this is 1 minus x raised to power n minus 3. So in the second integration we have n minus 1 into n minus 2, m into m plus 1, 0 to 1, x raised to power m plus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 3 dx. If we repeat this process, we will observe that in the powers of 1 minus x, in the first term we had, first integration we had n minus 2. First integration 1 more than 1. So it is 2, n minus 2. In third integration we had n minus 3. So second integration 2 more than 2, 1. So we are subtracting 3 here. So in n minus 1th integration we will have more 1 more than n minus 1 is n. So n minus n means 0. So after n minus 1 integration, here we will have n minus n, so which is 0, 1 minus x raised to power 0 is 1, so this term will vanish after n minus 1 integration. And for this term, after n minus 1 integration, we observe in first term we have x raised to power m, in second term we have x raised to power m plus 1, in second means 1, and in n minus 1, m plus n minus 2. So 1 more than n minus 1. So m plus n minus 2. And in the numerator here, outside the sign of integration, in the first integration we had only one factor n minus 1. In second integration we have n minus 1 into n minus 2, 2 factors. In n minus 1th integration we will have n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, 3, 2, 1 means n minus 1 factors. In the denominator, in first integration we have only m, in second integration it is m into m plus 1. So we have two factors. So in n minus 1 of integration we will have m, then m plus 2, it is increasing. Here m, then m plus 1. So m plus 2, so here we will have m plus n minus 2. So in the n minus 1th integration we will have m plus n minus 2 here. So here we are left only with 0 to 1 x raised to power m plus n minus 2 dx. Now it is easy to integrate this. So its integration is m plus n minus 2 plus 1 upon m plus n minus 2 plus 1. So m plus n minus 1 upon m plus n minus 1. So limits are from 0 to 1. So it is if we substitute upper limit, it is 1 raised to power m plus n minus 1, which is 1 upon m plus n minus 1, which I have written here. For lower limit it will be 0. So we are left with n minus 1, n minus 2, 3, 2, 1 upon m into m plus 1, m plus n minus 1. So it is nothing but factorial n minus 1, and it is m into m plus 1, m plus n minus 1. So this is the case when n is positive integer, then beta mn is equal to this value. Now if m is a positive integer, we know that beta function is symmetrical in m and n. So we may directly write beta mn equal to factorial m minus 1 upon n into n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus m minus 1 if we interchange m and n in case 1 here. In case 1, beta mn equal to factorial n minus 1 upon m into m plus 1, m plus n minus 1. If we interchange m and n, here we will have factorial m minus 1, n plus 1, n plus m minus 1. So this I have written directly by interchanging m and n in first case. If both are positive, then using first case, if we divide and multiply by factorial m in numerator and denominator, we know that factorial m is nothing but m into m minus 1 factorial. So if we write here m into factorial m minus 1, then this m, which is outside factorial m minus 1, and this m in the denominator will cancel out, and in the numerator we will have factorial m minus 1 and factorial n minus 1. This we already have, and we will be left with factorial m minus 1 because m we have cancelled with this m. And in the denominator we have factorial m minus 1, m plus 1, m plus n minus 1. And if we write these terms in reverse order, we will have m plus n minus 1, m plus n minus 2 term before this, then m plus 1, then factorial m. Factorial m is m minus 1, 3, 2, 1. And this is nothing but factorial m plus n minus 1. So beta mn is equal to factorial m minus 1, factorial n minus 1, factorial m plus n minus 1. Now we will prove that beta mn is equal to 0 to infinity x raised to power m minus 1, 1 plus x raised to power m plus n dx. And because beta function is symmetrical, so we may replace m by n. So we may write it as 0 to infinity x raised to power n minus 1, 1 plus x raised to power m plus n dx, where m and n are positive real numbers. So by the definition of beta function, this is 0 to 1 x raised to power m minus 1, 1 minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx. If we substitute x equal to 1 upon 1 plus y, then 1 minus x is equal to 1 minus 1 upon 1 plus y. And if we simplify this term, we get y upon 1 plus y. On differentiating this, dx, differentiation of 1 upon 1 plus y minus 1 upon 1 plus y square and dy. Here the lower limit is 0, upper limit is 1. So whenever we substitute, we change the variable, we also change the limit. So for x equal to 0, if we substitute x equal to 0 here, then y 1 plus y is equal to 1 upon 0. Shift this to this side and this to this side. 1 plus y is 1 upon x. For x equal to 0, 1 plus y is 1 upon 0 means infinity. So it means y is infinity. Upper limit, if x is 1, if you substitute 1 here, then 1 plus y is equal to 1, then y equal to 0. So earlier the limits were from 0 to 1, now the limits are from infinity to 0. Now in place of x we have 1 upon 1 plus y raised per m minus 1. For 1 minus x raised per n minus 1, it is y upon 1 plus y raised per n minus 1. Then dx equal to minus 1 upon y whole square dy, because we have calculated dx equal to minus 1 upon y whole square dy. So in the numerator we have 1 here, 1 raised per n minus 1 is 1, 1 here we have y raised per n minus 1, so this is y raised per n minus 1. In the denominator 1 plus y raised per m minus 1, 1 plus y raised per n minus 1, 1 plus y whole square. So m minus 1 plus n minus 1 plus 2. So minus 1 plus 2 is 0. So we are left with 1 plus y raised per m plus n. Therefore beta mn is equal to 0 to infinity y raised per n minus 1, 1 plus y raised per m plus n dy. Because we know by property of definite integral that a to b fx dx is equal to minus b to a fx dx. Means if we interchange the limit, there will be minus sign outside the integral. So it was minus infinity to 0. So now it is 0 to infinity y raised per n minus 1, 1 plus y raised per n plus n. Also we know by property of definite integral that we may change the variable. If you change the variable by any other variable, the value of integral remain unchanged. Means a to b fx dx is equal to b to a ft dt. So it means here the variable was y, so we may interchange replace y by x. So 0 to infinity x raised per n minus 1, 1 plus x raised per n plus n dx. Because beta is symmetrical function, so we may replace n by m. So it may be written as beta mn equal to 0 to infinity x raised per m minus 1, 1 plus x raised per m plus n dx. Now we will show that beta mn is equal to 0 to 1 x raised per m minus 1 plus x raised per n minus 1, 1 plus x raised to power m plus n dx. We know that beta mn is equal to 0 to infinity x raised per m minus 1, 1 plus x raised per m plus n dx. This result we have proved in previous slide. Also we know by property of definite integral that a to b fx dx is equal to a to c fx dx plus c to b fx dx if c lies between a and b. Here the limits are from 0 to infinity and 1 lies between 0 and infinity. So we may break it into two parts, 0 to 1 and 1 to infinity. So x raised per m minus 1, 1 plus x raised per m plus n dx, 0 to 1. Then the integration 1 to infinity x raised per m minus 1, 1 plus x raised per m plus n dx. If we substitute x equal to 1 upon t in second term, this is the second term, then dx is equal to minus 1 upon t square. It is 1 upon t, so dx is minus 1 upon t square dt. Lower limit is 1, upper limit is infinity. So if we substitute x equal to 1, then if x is 1 here, then t is 1. If we put x equal to infinity, then t is equal to 1 upon infinity means 0. So t is 0. Earlier the limits were from 1 to infinity, now these are from 1 to 0. So 1 to 0, x is 1 upon t. So 1 upon t raised per m minus 1, 1 plus x, 1 plus 1 upon t m plus n, and dx is minus 1 upon t square dt. So minus 1 upon t square dt. So we know that if we interchange the limit, the sign of integration also changed. So here it is 1 to 0, now it is 0 to 1. So it is t raised per m plus n, 1 plus t raised per m plus n, t raised per m plus 1 dt. Because this t will come in the numerator, this is t raised per m minus 1 and this is t raised per 2, m minus 1 plus 2. So it is m plus n. Here it is t plus 1 raised per m plus n. So 1 plus t raised per m plus n. This will go in the numerator. So t raised per m plus n. So again by applying law of indices, it is t m plus n, it is t raised per m plus 1. So if we shift to numerator, then it is m plus n minus m minus 1. So it is t raised per n minus 1, or here we have 1 plus t raised per n plus n. Here the limit was 1 to 0 with minus sign. So it is 0 to 1 and minus sign is gone. So 0 to 1 t raised per n minus 1, 1 plus t m plus n dt. But by the properties of definite integral, we may change the variable, because a to b ft dt equal to a to b fx dx. So this is 0 to 1 x raised per n minus 1, 1 plus x raised per m plus n dx. Now substituting the value of 1 to infinity x raised per m minus 1, 1 plus x raised per m minus 1 n dx, which is this value here, then beta mn is equal to 0 to 1 x raised per m minus 1, 1 plus x raised per m plus n dx, this term plus this term is equal to this term. 0 to 1 x raised per n minus 1, 1 plus x raised per m plus n dx. So here the limits are limits of integration are same, variable is same, denominator is same. So we may write 0 to 1 x raised per m minus 1 plus x raised per n minus 1, 1 plus x raised per m plus n dx. Now we will show that beta mn is equal to a raised per m bn 0 to infinity x raised per m minus 1 dx ax plus b raised per m plus n. We know that beta mn is equal to 0 to infinity y raised per m minus 1 upon 1 plus y m plus n dy. This result we have proved just now. If we substitute y equal to ax upon b in this result, then dy is equal to a upon b dx. Here the limits of integration are 0 to infinity. Lower limit is 0, so y equal to 0. If you substitute y equal to 0, then x is 0. Upper limit is infinity. If y is infinity here, then x is infinity. So limits are same, 0 to infinity. Y is ax plus b, ax upon b m minus 1. dy is a upon b dx, a upon b dx. 1 plus y, 1 plus ax plus upon b, power is m plus n, m plus n. So the power of a is m minus 1 here, it is 1 here. So it is a raised per m, m minus 1 plus 1, a raised per m. This b is in the denominator, this b will go in the numerator, b raised per m plus n, this is in the denominator. So it will be b raised per m plus n minus m plus 1 minus 1. So it will be b raised per n, and 0 to infinity x raised per m minus 1, and this is nothing but b plus ax or ax plus b raised per m plus n dx. So we have proved beta mn equal to a raised per m, b raised per n, 0 to infinity x raised per m minus 1 dx, ax plus b raised per m plus n. Now we have one more result, that integration of b to a x minus b raised per m minus 1, a minus x raised per n minus 1 dx is equal to a minus b m plus n minus 1 beta mn. We know the definition of beta function now. It is nothing but 0 to 1 x raised per m minus 1, 1 minus x raised per n minus 1 dx. So x is equal to, if we substitute x equal to y minus b upon a minus b, then dx is equal to dy upon a minus b, because b is constant. Here the lower limit is 0, upper limit is 1. Variable is x. So if x is 0, if you substitute x equal to 0, then if you cross multiply y minus b equal to 0 means y equal to b. If you substitute x equal to 1 here, cross multiply y minus b equal to a minus b, so y equal to a. So it means beta mn is equal to, limits earlier were 0 to 1, now these are from b to a. So b to a, x is y minus b upon a minus b, m minus 1. 1 minus x is nothing but a minus y upon a minus b, power is n minus 1, dx is dy upon a minus b. So in the numerator we have y minus b raised to power m minus 1, here a minus y raised to power n minus 1, and this is dy. Now a minus b, it is in the denominator, power is m minus 1 plus n minus 1 plus 1. So m minus 1 plus n minus 1 plus 1 is m plus n minus 1. Here the variable is y, and we know by the property of definite integral that we may replace the variable by any other variable. So a to b fx dx is equal to a to b ft dt. So I am replacing y by x here. So 1 upon a minus b m plus n minus 1, b to a x minus b m minus 1 a minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx. So if we cross multiply, this will go to this side. So a minus b m plus n minus 1 b mn beta mn is equal to b to a x minus b raised to power m minus 1 a minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx. Or we may write b to a x minus b raised to power m minus 1 a minus x raised to power n minus 1 dx equal to a minus b raised to power m plus n minus 1 beta mn.